Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here at 4:30. Look at this, a new bird's eye view of the Stadium District ahead of next week's NFL Draft. This is going to be our Action 2 News perch right there during the week. A week that is expected to host hundreds of thousands of people right there in that district. With that many people in one place, of course, the potential exists for multiple needs for public safety agencies. And today, two of those agencies unveiling this, a new joint mobile command post that will allow both to work out of one place. After years of having separate mobile command posts, Green Bay Metro Fire and Green Bay Police will now share this truck going forward. It was built in Burlington, Wisconsin. The cost was over $1 million, but it will allow multiple agencies to coordinate efforts under one roof, thus saving dollars. That new vehicle anchoring tactical training today in Green Bay, so time to take a field trip. Alongside Green Bay Police Chief Chris Davis, so this beautiful new mobile facility. The first question, I think probably obvious, without the draft coming to Green Bay, would we be standing in front of this right now?
Probably not. That was one of the main reasons why we wanted to get this project done fairly quickly. Usually the lead time for vehicles like this is so long that it would have taken us until after when the draft was scheduled to get it done, but we were able to work with the vendor and get it a little faster.
What will it allow you to do next week that maybe the old one could not?
Well, it'll not only next week, but just in general, it gives us incident command capability out at the scene of an incident or an event. We'll use it obviously as part of the incident command plan for the draft itself. But you know, we used this vehicle's predecessor fairly regularly for large-scale police responses all the time.
We've heard so much about what integration is going to take place here for next week, and probably other. I mean, we've seen incidents in the past too, where there's a lot of agencies integrating. Why is something like this so vital to that integration?
Well, it's really important for us here in the city because we work a lot with the fire service on large-scale incidents. And so for us to be able to have our command structure co-located, we established what's called the incident command structure, and it's a system for managing either a large event or a major incident. And most of the time we're integrated with fire, and so it allows us to be together, where in the past we have two separate command vehicles, one for each agency, and it just makes the coordination not quite as smooth as it'll be with one facility.
When the public sees something like this and they don't understand all the stuff that goes into how this works and how you folks respond and things like that, what's the thing that they can take away from this going, you know what, I'll be safer because of this?
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize when you see a large police or fire response, the command and control that has to come with that to make sure that our incident commander is able to communicate the plan to people, to work through issues as they come up and kind of work the problem, so to speak. And having a facility like this that's out in the field, those are things that you just can't do on incidents like this from back at the office. You need to be present there, but there's also a ton of technology, a lot of different camera systems that we use with drones and with robots. And so if you're an incident commander, you're able to see what the operators are seeing in the incident itself and make faster decisions and make better decisions, better use of resources. Both police and fire departments had their own command vehicles in the past. Ours was really getting old, and it was to the point where it was out of service at least as much as it was in service, and there were times where we didn't have it for emergencies, and so it was time to replace that.
And now we're joined by Green Bay Metro Fire Chief Matthew Knott. So the question I really had about is what you saw last year when you know, we did so much with you. You went to Detroit and looked at all that stuff. What does this allow you to do? And in your mind's eye, what problems does this solve?
Sure. You know, one of the always at larger events is communication is like the first thing. If you look at like any after action report, communication is always a challenge. This thing fixes that problem, you know. But I think like if you look at the bigger picture, us working collaboratively, all the planning parts that we've gone through, that helps us with that communication piece. But this really, it serves as a tool to help us fix our communication issues, help us work together, help us collaboratively solve problems, and really work with that unified command approach.
Are there also problems that come along with integrating? How much training just to make sure we're not tripping all over each other in the same in the same truck.
Yeah, the big thing is that unified command. So everybody kind of stays in their lane, works collaboratively. We together work on objectives. What do we hope to accomplish this next operational period? What are our plans for tomorrow look like? And if we put all those things together, then everybody stays in their lane and works the problem with their unique skill set. It solves all of those challenges.
Why should the Green Bay community feel pretty fortunate to have this piece of technology?
Yeah.
Not just versus what you had before, but maybe in comparison to what other places this size have, because
Sure.
this is pretty high tech, and this is a pretty expensive piece of equipment.
It is, and it's something we're really proud of too. And this fixes a lot of issues. I think it's things that we didn't know were quite issues before because we just worked through them. But like I said, the collaboration and the communication is just going to be infinitely better here.
Finally, I asked Chief Davis, does he have that kid on Christmas morning feel with it? I mean, you guys have seen vehicles like this before. You've probably worked in many of them before, but to walk into one like this, is it Christmas morning for you still?
Yeah, that's nice. And we joke it still has a new command vehicle smell.
Yeah, I asked him about that. Like, is it better than a new car smell?
Yeah, it
smells
pretty
more
good.
expensive, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've like I said, we've really worked hard to make this right. There's all kinds of resources, all things. We made this really, tech friendly. So instead of putting, another $100,000 of electronics and computers into this, it's basically bring your own.
Okay.
We know everybody has their own computer, so we're bringing our own cell phones, we're bringing our own computers, and we're just able to plug and play now. And historically, like there's always these maintenance issues of how do we keep everything updated, and we fix that, and we save money to do it too. So, yes, this is a very expensive vehicle, but
the cost of not having
the cost of not having
more
is
so
exponentially higher. So we look at this as being a real neighborhood resource too. And if you think of like a flood or a severe wind event or something like that, we have power outages. This vehicle could be brought to that area, serve those citizens better. We have Wi-Fi access on the outside of the vehicle that we could strengthen or broadcast out. Charging stations on the exterior. So we really see it as not just serving our needs, but our entire community needs.